Hey all, Sonic Star, doesn't feel great. Not like physically, but kind of mentally. I feel like my last reaction, to the Sonic 3 No Fish Trail 2 wasn't great at all. And there was somebody who really wanted to see my reaction to it. Shout out that guy. But I just feel like I couldn't deliver a good reaction, especially looking at other reactions. I didn't even notice that Eggman was pissing on the goddamn moon. God, I'm such a bitch. You know that? I'm such a bitch. I haven't said that one on the channel yet, but I'm such a bitch. But we're just gonna react to the new Alex Bell the theory. It's not even a teaser. It's the whole theory. He didn't drop a teaser, unless I probably would have reacted to it. So here we go. I don't really know what's good volume, so. Oh hey.
Hi there. Blue's Clues is an educational children's
Is he gonna be on the green screen the whole
Steve
time?
Who lives in a magical world where he spends his day talking to inanimate objects, jumping through picture frames, and trying to find clues to help understand his magical blue dog. Law & Order is a gritty, realistic police procedural/legal drama that involves
Wait, is he gonna connect these two?
detectives trying to solve murders and prosecute criminals. These two shows are very different. You could not find two shows more polar opposite than Blue's Clues
Blue's Clues and Law & Order.
And yet,
Come on, man.
Despite this, not only do I believe that these two shows exist in the same universe,
What?
but I'm also going to be proving that the entire Blue's Clues show is actually just a fantasy inside of the mind of a single Law & Order side character. Yes, I am being serious. I know that sounds crazy.
I love him being on the green
stick
screen with
because
the
I'm
fucking
pretty
short
sure
on.
that I have discovered a 29-year-old secret that has never been talked about before.
Dude, this is
today.
what makes
Get ready,
Alex so
because
great.
This is the Blue's Clues Law & Order theory.
This is what makes him so great, because he talks about things no one's even thought of. This is so good. The presentation is so damn good in all of Alex's videos, dude. I can't wait. This is gonna be great. Theory by Alex Bell. Part 1, Dream
By far,
Theory.
the most common type of fan...
Was that a reference to Matt Pat's Dream Theory about like Five Nights at Freddy's, like all of the games, back in like 2015, taking place in like Quan Child's head and all being dreams? Is that what that's supposed to be a reference to? It's just funny that both of those theories have the same name. Here we go.
theory is the dream theory. The idea that every...
What do you say?
By far, the most common type of fan theory is the dream theory.
Okay, maybe
that's
what he was referencing, not specifically
all just inside
Matt
of
Pat's.
a character's head, whether they're stuck in a coma or they're dreaming or
I see a lot of
they're
those.
actually dead. Pretty much every piece of media has some kind of dream theory.
Even FNAF.
And it's sort of the lazy, low-hanging
Wait, what was that?
fruit of
Home Alone
fan
2 was a
theories.
dream.
You can just apply it to literally anything.
What did it say?
Usually there's
Kevin
never actually
crashed
any
on his
evidence
plane? Is that what you're trying to
besides,
say?
Whoa, this show is so crazy and unrealistic. That must mean it's a dream. Ah! And surprisingly, the show that seems to have the most of these types of fan theories is Blue's Clues.
Nice.
You got Steve is actually schizophrenic, Steve is actually in a mental asylum, Steve is actually a drug addict, Steve is actually in prison, Steve is actually a murderer who killed his parents. Oh my god.
Jesus
Even
Christ.
I made a parody of these theories.
Yeah, I
back in
remember this video.
2017.
This is
So
great.
yeah, it's a pretty basic, normal kid show. Steve, a 30-year-old schizophrenic who killed his parents, pretends to be a kid. That was before I dedicated my life to making fan theories about kid shows. And look, I understand the appeal
if only
of
Alex
these
knew
types
back
of
then.
theories. It's fun to take something
7 years
innocent
ago,
from your
goddamn.
childhood and give it a dark, edgy plot twist. That's kind of
Is it
literally my
always
job
fun?
right now. But why are there so many of these theories about specifically Blue's Clues? Well,
This is one of the most beloved kids shows I've ever seen. Why does everybody want to make theories about it, trying to ruin it for everybody? I don't understand. Okay, here we go.
I think it's because everything about this show has always felt fake. Steve
That's what I feel about every show I watch now, because of you!
is the only real person in this world. He
I mean,
looks
yeah.
like a young adult, but he acts
Yeah.
like a child. And he
Yeah.
lives alone in a house where he
Yeah.
spends his day jumping into
Yeah.
picture frames or talking to unseen voices.
Okay. that picture thing has got me thinking. Right, this whole theory is about connecting Blue's Clues and Law and Order. But hear me out. What if Blue's Clues and Super Mario 64 take place in the same universe? Hear me out. The painting jumping, what other universe can you do that in? There was an Atlantis SquarePants, that one SpongeBob episode. Oh well.
Or inanimate objects. It just kind of sounds
I
like
guess
I'm
this is a good
describing
reaction.
someone who is
I feel like it's better
experiencing
than my
some
last one.
kind of false reality. Even the way Steve moves around is strange. He never actually leaves the room. He just kind of pretends to walk in place while this fantasy world moves around
it's
him.
weird. It's definitely weird.
Obviously, that was more of a filming limitation, but it still adds
Dude,
to
the
this
presentation,
feeling
the
of
quality, the
fakeness.
production,
But
so
other than
good.
these surface-level weird vibes
Alex
the
is
show
such
gives
good
off,
content.
there's
Greatest
never
theorist
actually
of all
been any
time.
strong
And I
evidence
know,
to
I love
prove
Matt
one of
Pat.
these
I've made
theories.
multiple
And believe
videos
me,
about him, but
I
still.
and others have looked. It has
As
been
a theorist
28 years
and,
since
like,
this
the
show
quality,
first
the
came out.
production,
You'd think if there was
Alex
actually
is
some
just
kind
goat.
of smoking gun here, we would have found it by now.
Yeah, we would have found it.
What if that's because we've all been looking in the wrong place?
You have said that in every theory. Look at you. Look at you. You have said that in not closer. Yeah, there. No, that's no. Yeah, no. We gotta get that. Yeah, there. You have said that in every theory, like Magic School Bus, a Pixar. Like, what have we been looking in the wrong place? Because nobody was looking in the classroom or freaking behind the scenes, Blue Bulls. Nobody. You say that in every theory. Also, I gotta go back because I think I saw something in the
Some
paper.
kind of smoking gun here, we would have found it by now. But
I'm gonna look so stupid. I thought that apple right there was like a rope that you could hang yourself in. I'm so dumb.
what if that's because we've all been looking?
He's got Criminal
in the
Minds
wrong
music,
place?
dude.
So, the other day, I stumbled upon an
The other
interesting
day,
piece
wow.
of Blue's Clues trivia. A year after Steve Burns filmed the Blue's Clues pilot, he had
Mm-hmm.
a small role in an episode of Law and Order. And
Uh-huh.
I thought the idea of seeing Steve from Blue's Clues in a gritty, realistic cop show was kind of funny. So
Yeah.
I decided to track down the 1995 episode titled Cruel and Unusual. Just a heads up, this episode deals with some pretty serious subject matter.
Yeah.
So please
That's all you have made me deal with from your theories. It's all serious subject matter. All these innocent kid shows, Avatar, SpongeBob, got Magic School Bus, those Pixar movies. You have ruined all of them. And I will never forgive you. And yet I feel like I can't help but fall in love with these theories. They've been unlocking a truth that has been hiding from me this whole time that I desperately want to know about so I can learn the truth. But at the same time, I don't want to learn the truth because it's ruining my childhood!
proceed with caution.
Cruel and unusual.
In this episode, Steve Burns plays a kid with autism named Kevin Jeffries.
Good morning, how are you?
Great.
What time is it?
10:15.
No, it's 10:18.
We learn that Kevin has trouble communicating with others and often harms
Nice.
himself. So his parents send him to live in a children's behavioral clinic.
Just what was the behavioral clinic doing for him?
When Kevin was 10, he started to
probably
hurt
was-
himself.
We didn't
This
really
probably
like
was
it.
meant to be like a roast towards Blue's Clues. But they filmed this right after the pilot. That doesn't... Shoot, he might be right.
No, we couldn't
He
keep
always
Kevin
is, bro.
here. We had to send him away.
We later find out that the doctors at this clinic were horribly mistreating him by giving him intense electroshock therapy and forcing him to wear a sensory deprivation helmet for days.
He kept Kathy in this helmet for 3 straight days.
And you told me that
This
wasn't a good
helmet
idea?
Cut off the blood supply to our daughter's brain.
The episode starts with Kevin after he's escaped from the facility, but
How does he
tragically,
escape?
he gets arrested and later succumbs to the injuries sustained from his abuse
A blood
and
clot from the
dies.
I don't know, Mike. I think the kid's dead.
And the rest of the
So he's just a one-off. He was right when he said a one-off, dude.
episode follows
He was right when he said he was a
detectives
one-off.
investigating his death. So yeah, this is a very sad and serious episode, and it
Yeah.
deals with some real systemic issues that are still a problem today.
Yeah.
And like I was saying, this show is clearly very, very different than Blue's Clues.
Yeah,
But
very.
what I find interesting about this...
Dude, don't do this. You do this every time. But I found something so interesting. It's gonna blow your mind into a bunch of different pieces, you little bitch.
is that for years, people have been trying to prove that Steve is actually in prison or a mental facility.
You know, that is actually funny. How did nobody notice that? I don't know if Alex is a genius or we're all idiots. We're like, oh, he's been in a mental asylum thing. Yeah, mental asylum theory. And yet nobody knows that the actor who played Steve in Blue's Clues actually was a kid in like a mental asylum in an episode of Law & Order. I know there's two very different shows, and you're not gonna look there when you're making a Blue's Clues theory, but still, man, it's just so weird.
And now, we have this piece of media where we see Steve's actor in that exact
it's
position, and as far as I'm aware, no one's ever really talked about this.
Yeah, it's so
I mean,
weird.
sure, Kevin's not schizophrenic, he has autism, but seeing as how he was
It's
being
just so
abused
weird,
and
bro.
put into sensory deprivation for days where he couldn't
So
hear
weird.
or see anything, you can kind of imagine that anyone in that position might try to escape to some kind of fantasy inside of their head. So,
Yeah, makes
I
sense.
thought this was an interesting coincidence.
And now
but
he's gonna
at
make
the end of
this
the day,
insane
that's kinda
connection.
all it was. Like, obviously, just because the same actor shows up in
He's gonna make the
different shows
greatest
doesn't mean they're
connection of all
actually
time.
connected. But then, I took a closer look
Here we go!
at this episode, and I started to notice more and more weird similarities between Kevin and Steve.
What? What are the similarities, huh?
At first, it just started with some little things. We are told by Kevin's parents that he was learning to draw.
Thanks to him, Kevin was learning to draw.
And in every episode of Blue's Clues,
Yeah, that is
Steve
something.
draws in his
He does
handy
draw.
dandy notebook.
Our handy dandy
Notebook.
notebook. Let's draw a rectangle, and there, cheese.
Dude.
Okay, but so
This
what?
is getting
Lots
crazy.
of kids like to draw. But we are also told that when Kevin harmed himself, he was strapped to a chair.
We put them in a chair, and then we hold them.
He sits in a chair. All of the time! Don't you say it!
They are using soft.
Don't do it!
And in every episode of
No,
Blue's
this is
Clues,
exactly what I
Steve spends a lot of time in his thinking chair.
Ready to sit in our...
Thinking chair.
Now that we're in our thinking chair, let's
Dude.
think.
And then, when Kevin escaped the facility,
Now that
he
when
kept
we're
asking
now
people
thinking
what
chair, let's
time it
think.
was.
What time is it? 10:15. What time?
Does he ask, like, what time is it? It's blue time. I haven't seen Blue's Clues that much, really, so I don't know, man.
How you doing today, huh? What time?
Now, it is common for some people with autism to rely on specific schedules
Yeah, man.
or routines, but what time it is also really important in Blue's
This is
Clues.
insane.
What time is it? What time is it now?
Steve has a cleanup time,
We just had cleanup time.
a nap time.
It's Blue's nap time.
Now it's time for so long. There's a talking clock. And most of
This
all,
is-
every day, Steve has mail time.
Lady Blue, the mail's here.
So yeah, there's some
Dude. He's making me want to go watch Blue's Clues. And just stop watching this and try to find the smoking gun evidence. Because 8 minutes, dude, that's almost... I've almost doubled the length of this video because of how much I paused it!
weird similarities here, but nothing
I'm sorry.
actually
Alex just gets me going,
concrete.
man.
I didn't really start to take any of this seriously until I realized. After Kevin escaped, we are told that he went
Dude. Here we go!
to a movie theater. And guess what he did in the theater?
Oh,
We
no.
started at 10. He was out of here by 10 after 10.
What
Got
a-
out of his seat, walked into the screen.
Kevin got out of
What?
the seat and tried to walk into the screen. Doesn't that sound exactly like Steve Blue's?
Now this could be one of two things. Kevin is Steve, or Kevin is Mario. Or Squidward, because I'm pretty sure he walked into paintings in his song in that Scrippantus.
doing into a picture?
Blue's gonna do, we can too.
He does it with screens too, man.
Walked into the screen.
This kind of feels like more than a coincidence. So this is when I first started to consider.
This
it
is
really
so
possible
weird, wow.
that Kevin Jeffries from Law & Order is the real
my
Steve,
God.
and Blue's Clues is all a fantasy he created to escape his abusive reality.
This means that
Okay,
Lon.
I know you're
This means that Lon and Lon and. Did I say Lon and Odell? No, Law and Odell. Since the episode with freaking Steven and came out after like the pilot was filmed, that means that it wasn't Law and Order who set this up because they knew what happened in Blue's Clues. It means that Blue's Clues set this up because they knew what happened in Law and Order, which is more terrifying that Law and Order was the one to set up this dark lore, but instead Blue's Clues. And what makes it especially disturbing is that Kevin dies.
not convinced yet, and to be honest, neither was I.
Yeah, I'm not totally convinced. Like, I don't get the goodbye thing. I don't get the end of the show. Like, I don't get that. Where does that come in? So, yeah, you need to do some more convincing. I don't even need to ask you to do that, though. You already are gonna.
But don't worry, we are just getting started. Kevin's
We have 17 minutes left. We were 9 minutes in. I think we're all just getting started.
behavioral clinic is in New York City, and the one
They're gonna say New York City.
time characters actually leave the Blue's Clues fantasy world and go to the real world,
Oh, no.
they end up in New York.
Well,
Clues in New York City? This is epic!
Also,
This
in the
is
very
stupid.
first episode of Blue's Clues, we can see a newspaper from the New York Times inside of Steve's house, strongly implying that's actually where he lives. We can also see objects from Blue's Clues in Kevin's life. In Kevin's parents' house,
What?
we see a very large salt and pepper shaker,
No.
just like Mr. Salt and Mrs. Pepper.
Hi, Mr. Salt and Mrs. Pepper. Hello, Steve.
Hello, Steve.
And in
dude,
the clinic, we can see a red bucket, just like Steve's friend, Hale.
dude!
Hi, Steve.
Also,
I hate
Steve
this.
left the show to go to college.
Fine, this is gonna come into play. Now, what is this gonna be? I need him to answer. Like, what does this symbolize? Like, did he imagine this episode in his head? And like, why did he imagine this? Why did he imagine himself leaving? You know, I need him to answer that. That's my one main question.
He left on a blue bus.
If he shows me a blue bus, like, a few minutes before he dies, then I know exactly how to answer my own question.
And when Kevin escaped the clinic, in his pocket he had a schedule for the Greyhound,
Here you go. Amtrak schedule, Greyhound schedules.
which is also a blue bus.
Oh my god, he envisioned himself leaving for the bus because that's exactly what he was doing.
Alright, those are some
It all
more
makes
interesting
sense. You don't even have to tell me
connections, but
anymore.
you're probably still not completely
I am
sold yet.
completely insulted.
Well, check this out. When
Whoa. I don't think I've ever heard a more badass line in my entire life, dude. No one has ever said chills down my spine like this.
Alright,
Watch
those are
this.
some more interesting connections, but you're probably still not completely sold yet, right? Well, check this out.
Have you ever seen such a... Look at that Stevie smile there. Have you ever seen such an insane... This is the thumbnail. This is the thumbnail. Have you ever seen... It isn't, probably. But have you ever seen such a... Maybe it is. Have you ever seen such a... I'm just gonna stop, bro.
When Steve eventually left the show to go to college,
Yes.
he was replaced by his younger brother Joe.
Oh, hi. It's me.
If you tell me that the actor who played Joe was in that Law and Order episode...
Steve's brother, Joe.
And later, Joe got replaced by their cousin Josh.
Hi, it's me, Josh.
And not only does Kevin also have a younger brother, but at the clinic, there is a
Is his name... Don't tell me his name is Joe!
nurse named Joe
What's your name? Joe Garvey. Joe Garvey, you're under arrest for assault.
What?
and an occupational therapist named Josh.
Take a look at the amended complaint. Occupational therapist Josh Bingham was dropped.
I think
Wait.
that Kevin is taking aspects from his real life, like the objects or the names of the
Oh,
people
no.
working at the clinic,
Oh.
and applying them to his fantasy.
So, his younger brother isn't actually Joe, and his cousin isn't Josh. It's just, he's making those people... Oh my god. Their names... It's just... There's too many connections. It has to be true. You don't need to convince me. What happened to this video?
Also, this one is less impressive, but the name Kevin is also the name of the Blue's Clues UK host.
Hello out there, it's me, Kevin.
Also,
that's
check this
something.
out. Kevin's behavioral
Yeah,
clinic
not as
has
important,
the
but
same
still.
initials as Blue's Clues. Huh? That one's also not that impressive, I know. But wait.
Yeah,
If this theory
there's still
is
something,
true,
though.
and all of this is just inside
It is
of
true.
Kevin's
It
head,
is. It is.
then why does the main character of his fantasy keep changing?
That's a little weird, I must say. Or is it a curse? Think about it, right? What if his whole autism thing was passed down to Joe? Or his actual younger brother, or just Joe? And then when he dies, it's passed down to Josh, his cousin, or just the actual Josh? What if it's a curse?
Hi, come on in. Hi, come on in. Hi, come on in.
Well, at first, I thought
Let's
maybe
see, man.
Joe and Josh could actually just be from two different kids who took Kevin's spot in the clinic after he died. But
maybe.
the clinic gets shut down at the end of the episode.
You made them close the clinic.
So they would all have to be from Kevin. But why? Well, we're told that Kevin has tried to escape from the
I would have stopped this theory by now. I wouldn't even think about why his fantasy world continues with different people. But Alex is just too damn good. This is what I'm saying. You wouldn't see this in a Matt Pat theory. I love Matt Pat, but you wouldn't see this in a theory of his. But Alex Bell, greatest theorist of all time.
clinic before.
We called the police this morning as soon as the clinic told us that Kevin ran away. He's done this before.
So,
What?
if every time a host leaves Blue's Clues, it's actually Kevin trying to escape the clinic, and when he's inevitably put back inside,
He's done this before.
his fantasy resets with a new Blue's Clues host.
Come on in. Hi, come on in. Hi, come on in.
Okay, so there
Huh.
is a surprising amount of connections here. You can't.
Okay, then does that make him the viewer whenever like Joe or Josh are the hosts? Also, why are Joe and Josh so similar, but they're not similar to Steve at all? Could you imagine if they just called his cousin, if they called like his brother Steven? They just don't change the name at all, pretty much.
by that. But it's still
He's literally about to contradict himself, like, it still kind of feels weird that Blue's Clues and Law and Order are all connected. And then he's gonna be like, oh, whoa, I found this piece of information that's gonna change your life!
kind of feels like we're missing something. Like, I can see why Kevin would
Yeah.
imagine a fun, colorful world
Yeah, we'll
to
miss-
escape his abuse.
When you first brought this up, Alex, right? I know you're not. I'm gonna zoom in on Steve's face this time. Stupid spot. No, Blue's face. Yeah, this is where it's at. This is the thumbnail I knew. Remember that thumbnail I had for a video? There was two of them actually, where I just zoomed in on SpongeBob's face and then I zoomed in on Jimmy Neutron's face. Good times. We're going back to Alex. Remember, I was like, when you first brought this up to me, it felt like something was missing. That's not close enough. Oh, that's not even his face. It's not it's broken. It's okay. No more zoom out. No more zoom in, I guess. But when you first brought that up, I feel like there's something missing. I mean, I get the theory of him fantasizing this to escape his own world, but is there actually any evidence that Steve, or Kevin, I guess, is living in like a fantasy? And also, why is his name Steve in the show, in his head, but in real life his name's Kevin? There's still some things that need to be explained. Now, I don't know if the rest of the video needs to explain that, because we aren't even halfway in, but okay.
But why is Kevin's fantasy so focused on playing a scavenger hunt game with a blue dog?
I didn't even think about that. When he first brought that up, I was like, okay, that makes sense. When he first brought that up, I realized, why is there a blue dog? So, I mean, he's the main character. Blue is well, not really. Is he the main character? I don't know. Now, here's my theory, right? I haven't seen that Law and Order episode, but my theory, before he even brings up what he's gonna bring up, is that that Kevin had a dog that died, and that this fantasy is so that he can relive the glory days with that dog. If they say that his dog was like blue or was like eating blueberries and that's what killed him, dude.
As far as I can tell, there's nothing similar to that in this episode.
Yeah,
well,
man.
I think to answer this, we need to take a closer look at what Blue's Clues actually is.
I've been taking a closer look at you this whole time, man. Actually, now that he's even close to the camera, I wonder how far I can see. Jesus Christ! Okay. We are gonna play Blue's Clues. Let's go. You've gotta be kidding me.
Out of all of the bronzing drops on the market, I'm gonna have to say that the Lumi
Out of
Lotion is
all the
definitely...
idiots who had to show up on my screen! Here we go, man.
At the beginning of the Law & Order episode,
Somebody
Kevin's
died.
doctor explained to the detectives why Kevin harmed himself.
It's pretty
Why?
common with some autistic children. It's frustration because of their inability to communicate.
It's frustrations because of his inability
What do you mean? It's not common at. Ow!
to communicate. Now, autism is a spectrum, and it's a lot more common.
Am I saying that I'm autistic from that? I'll leave that to you to decide. Jack's up, guys. That was very interesting. He said he had ADHD for the longest time. Okay, this just popped up on the screen, and I'm gonna rant about this. Netflix. You know, you seem to have an obsession with, like, senior citizens. It's just elderly abuse. You seem to have an obsession with that, and I recommend you stopping. I bet most of you know what I'm talking about. And if you don't, then... I mean, I never really talked about anything like that on my channel before, so I wouldn't blame you at the same time.
Complicated and nuanced than the way TV shows like this tend to portray it. But it is true that some people with autism have varying levels of difficulty communicating. And I think this becomes interesting when we take a look at what Blue's Clues actually is.
Okay.
Well, what story should we tell? Great idea. We'll play Blue's Clues to figure out what story Blue wants us to tell.
It's a game where you try to understand Blue, a character who has an inability to communicate.
Huh. I just had an idea. Alright. Yeah. It's just blue. No, I want to have the... There. It's just a little red. If I zoomed in on this, I'd probably think this is like Spider-Man or Superman, you know? And then I zoom out and I'm like, oh, it's Blue's Clues.
This is literally the entire premise of the show. So I think that this is telling us that Blue represents the side of Kevin who struggles to communicate.
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. But why is he... I even understand the dog part, because dogs only communicate, but why is he blue?
With others. Okay, but where...
Why not red? Why not green? Why not freaking turquoise? What blue? Turquoise. I don't know, man.
Where did the idea for a blue dog come from?
Yeah,
like I said, I
get the dog, but why blue? Why not freaking magenta?
Find any references to dogs in this episode. The closest visual was this vaguely blue drawing in Kevin's room that I can't really make out.
Maybe just like the color blue.
That kind of had a similar pattern to blue, but nothing
That's
really
probably what
concrete,
it is. He likes
which
blue,
is weird
which is
because
why
blue
he
is such a
envisions
major
a blue
part
dog.
of this fantasy. But then I realized it doesn't matter if we can't find a direct connection, because in Blue's Clues, Steve didn't actually adopt Blue. In a
He stole him. Okay, that might be a little much. He stole and he can't communicate. Either nobody can figure out that he was stolen. He can't communicate. The truth is that he was stolen by Steve.
flashback episode of Blue's Clues, we learned that when Steve was younger, he read a book about a blue dog.
It's a book about a puppy.
Which caused Blue to magically come to life. And I think this is also probably what happened with Kevin. we see that the Children's Behavioral Clinic is full of what we can reasonably assume are children's books. Maybe there's a book in here that also gave Kevin the idea for a blue dog, just
Yeah,
like
maybe he
Steve.
just really liked
In
the
fact,
color
this
blue.
idea of a children's
Oh,
book
I guess
giving
a blue dog now. And I was gonna say something sad. Come on, man.
Kevin ideas for his fantasy is exactly what we see at the start of the Blue's Clues intro.
He has made me feel uncomfortable watching this intro. I mean, if I just zoom in on the smell box, you are bound to feel uncomfortable.
Hi, it's
What
me,
if we just
Steve.
stay this
Every
zoomed in the
single
whole time?
episode
Okay, I don't
of
want to
Blue's
do that. I don't
Clues
want to do that.
starts
I don't
with a
want to.
stack of children's books in the real world.
You know what? That
before
makes a
going inside
lot
a
of
book called
sense.
Blue's Clues,
I
where
hate
the
this.
episode
I hate it when it makes so much sense.
takes place. The show literally tells us every episode that Steve's world
Did we ever see what was in like this house? Like, there was another house next to Steve's. Like,
is fake and comes from a book. And I think this real world full of children's books is actually the Law and Order Behavioral Clinic. And if this is true, that also means that there's probably a book literally called Blue's Clues in the clinic
Yeah.
that Kevin is basing his fantasy off
that makes
of.
a.
So
This is
even if
making
we
too
never
much
see
sense.
a blue dog, or even hear the name Steve in this Law and Order episode, Kevin still could have gotten all of those ideas from an existing Blue's Clues book in the clinic.
Yeah, that's like my one issue with this theory still. Like, his name's Kevin. Why is his name Steve? Did he get it from Blue's Clues? Is that what it is?
Now, the only thing that doesn't really fit with this idea is mail time.
Hello, mailbox.
I told you that this stupid mailbox had something. It had something to hide. I knew it.
Steve. Have I got a letter for you?
Sure, maybe the talking purple mailbox was just
I told
something from the book, but there's no way Steve watching videos of kids in the real world would be something in a children's book.
It's a little weird.
It's a letter from our friends.
Hi, Steve. This is where we play with our blocks. This goes that way.
So,
This is so
what
weird.
are these videos? Well, the behavioral clinic is full of other children.
You want to see what a good day is for some of these kids?
Is he just
So,
saying
I
that?
think these videos are Kevin's perception of the other kids. There is just an undeniable amount of connections and similarities between
What were we, like 5 minutes in and he didn't need to convince me anymore? This guy. You deserve an Oscar, man! An Oscar!
this episode and this show. It just really feels like Blue's Clues.
He's acting like the theory is awful. We have 9 minutes left. Is he gonna spend 9 minutes with his name on the... I was gonna say stupid name, but he has a great name. This is a really funny face to zoom in on. I'm sorry if I feel like I'm harassing him. It's just this maniac is making me feel things I never wanted to feel in my
Full
life.
of fantasy inside of Kevin Jeffrey's head.
Yes, I forgot what I was saying. Don't remind me.
But at this point, you're probably wondering, could any of this actually be intentional?
I said something about that, of how Blue's Clues might have set this up. But here's the thing, two things. One, I remember what I was saying about his stupid, I'm just gonna say his stupid name now. His stupid name showing up on the screen for like 9 minutes because of how long this video still is. But number two, what's actually about what he's saying, he says this all the time. Like, he said this in his big SpongeBob compilation video that also, I never explained why I thought that video was going to come out the day I made a short about it. It's because, like, I don't know, the Cabbage Theory came out like a day or something after the teaser came out, and the same case was with the Pixar Theory, so I really thought the same case would be with that big SpongeBob compilation. It wasn't, though. But he even said in that compilation, and like answering the question if he thinks any of these theories were intended by the creators. Now he's actually applying that to his theory about it being intentional. This is insane. Is any of this even real?
Like, if this
He's addressed how Blue's Clues isn't real already. What do you mean, is any of this real?
theory is true, does that mean that the entire plot of Blue's Clues was actually secretly based on this one random episode of Law?
Dude, I'm just gonna walk around for a second. You stretch a little bit. I don't even know if you can hear me anymore. I genuinely don't. Maybe I have to scream so you can hear me. Maybe that. Okay, I'm coming back. Oh, but it's just season 5. Damn, the show's been on for a while. It's just like he's making me feel so uncomfortable, especially with that face. Let me unpause so I can be on a more comfortable face. That's even worse.
I'll admit that.
I'm just gonna zoom in on his short so I don't. No, the microphone, the main character. It feels so uncomfortable with him questioning if his theory was intended or not, because he's never done anything like this before. I hate it.
Seems unlikely.
And yes, we're staying on the microphone.
This episode came out a year after the Blue's Clues pilot was filmed.
Is that you? Okay. So, I don't know what I was gonna say. Actually, no, I don't know what it's not that I don't know what I was gonna say. I wasn't gonna say anything. I don't know why I paused it.
I think it's a lot more likely that if this was intentional, then it was probably just the Law & Order creators deciding to secretly connect these two shows.
Yeah, maybe that's what they were doing.
Maybe just because they thought it would be funny.
Maybe I was wrong. Maybe it was the Law & Order. Maybe it was Law & Order trying to make these universes connected the whole time. Let me tell you something, Alex. That doesn't add up because of your evidence. You're trying to tell me that Law & Order makers were trying to make these two universes seem connected. That was not their intent. Because one of your pieces of evidence was that every time a Blue's Clues host leaves, it's because, of freaking Kevin escaping. No Blue's Clues, I can't speak because of you making me lose my mind. I'm sorry if I'm screaming a lot. Let me talk like this for the rest of the video. But every time a Blue Who's, I just said Blue Who's. I'm sorry if you didn't want me to, but I'm gonna die because I keep screaming. Okay, we're going back to the microphone. There's text in the way. There we go. That's much better. We need to have a central shot. There. Perfect. But, every time you need to say it right. Blue's Clues. Oh! I got it! But, no Blue's Clues host left before that Law & Order episode, and so that piece of evidence doesn't add up. I don't understand.
Don't know. Or maybe it's some weird mixture of both. Because even years after this episode came out, Blue's Clues does still seem to weirdly line up with it.
And because they have names.
No.
It's because that too. The future hosts' names. It's not like they. It's not like the I will not startle anymore! But it's not like the makers of Law & Order knew that there was going to be different hosts in Blue's Clues for the future, and they knew that their names were going to be like Joe and Josh. So, yeah, some of your pieces of evidence aren't adding up to the fact that Law & Order, I think he's kind of denying that, that Law & Order set up this whole theory, and not Blue's Clues, because it seems like he's saying that it's a mixture of both, so. Yeah.
To be fair, this could all still just be a bunch of weird coincidences, and that's it.
But we have 8 minutes left, and you are not gonna sit here and be like, so I brought this up, and that was a mistake because I actually can't find any evidence. There's no way, man. There's no way. No way.
Regardless of the creator's intent, it still works, And it makes talking about Blue's Clues a lot more interesting. And at the end of the day, I think that's kind of...
I was expecting something very different from a Blue's Clues theory because this video, 7-8 years in the making, so I feel like we were gonna get something different, and I can't help but feel like I'm disappointed, but I'm not. Connecting Blue's Clues with a different show is not what I expected, but I'm not complaining about it when it's a really good theory. And if he has a really good theory in mind, I'm not gonna get mad at him for posting it. It's just that I felt like something different was gonna come from a Blue's Clues theory, and that it was gonna focus on Blue's Clues a little more. So maybe this last 8 minutes will do that for me, so I can truly feel satisfied.
The point of all of these edgy Blue's Clues fan theories. And this was originally where I planned...
Do! He does this every time! He's gonna... Dude, I'm like the rock bottom people in SpongeBob that what you like to from the question. It's like I'm like, because I'm talking like this guy says every time, you know, but like seriously, every time he says this is where he was gonna originally ended, but he doesn't end there.
On ending this video. But there is still one lingering question.
I don't have any questions left. The only question I have is like, why wasn't this focused on Blue's Clues more, you know? So, Alex, with that, this is the last segment of the video. I'm putting, no, if it's gonna be the last segment, we might as well segment on Alex. I was gonna do the microphone. You saw me go down to do it on the microphone. My original plan, I was originally gonna zoom on Alex's face, then I wanted to do it for the microphone because it's the last one, but then I thought, we did both Alex and Alex first one, so I zoomed on Alex. But, you see, this is near the end of the theory, and I just don't know what other question you could have. But I know one thing. You're about to play like the scary music to make me petrified, make me want to cry, and you're gonna do something like, it's not even like Steve's dead being a dark thing. We already know that. It's just what the hell could possibly come after this?
That was bothering me. If Blue's Clues really is just inside of Kevin Jeffries' head, then what about when Kevin died at the beginning of the episode? I mean, I guess we can just say that the entire Blue's Clues timeline takes place before Kevin's death.
Wait, he died at the beginning of the episode? Okay, in my defense, he never said that, so maybe I would have questioned it if I knew that Kevin died at the beginning of the episode.
And if the show ever gets canceled, then we can just say that that is when Kevin died and the fantasy ended. But what if I told you
He's gonna say something so crazy. I'm gonna be right back. Okay, I'm back. Just had to prepare for whatever the hell he is going to say, because whatever it is, it's gonna make me want to kill myself.
Already seen Kevin's death inside of Blue's Clues.
He died. This guy.
So, I recently watched the new Blue's Clues movie from...
And his dead body is freaking window display like the Flying Dutchman.
2022 called
They got his funeral.
Big City Adventure. And not only
I haven't seen this
did I
movie
find
yet, but still.
even more similarities between this movie and the show, but I believe that this movie is showing us the day that Kevin died and the true end of the Blue's Clues timeline.
I don't want to ever watch this movie anymore, man. I don't. Is that like Part 7? I don't know. Stop with this. Oh, it's a baby. Man, shut up, you little baby. That's not what I need to know right now. I need to know about Kevin's death.
So, this movie is about Josh, the newest host of Blue's Clues, going on a big adventure to audition for a Broadway musical in New York City. Hello?
We are
You already made
definitely
the
not in
connection.
storybook world anymore.
You've already
It's
made
kinda what you'd
connections
expect
by
out
using
of a
this
modern
movie.
day Blue's Clues movie.
What other
He
connections
goes
could
on
you
a
find from
journey
this
to
movie?
the
The
real
Magic
world,
School Bus!
gets
Okay,
lost,
I'm
there's
actually the
lots
Magic
of
School
wacky
Bus. I know.
hijinks, but in the end, he finds his way and gets the part.
We want you to be the star of our Broadway show.
Yes, of course. Yes, what?
But if
Nice,
you watch
nice.
this movie with this theory in mind,
Nice.
so many things take
Stop!
on a whole new
Stop!
The first thing that
Streaming
immediately
November
caught
18th, that's 2 days after my birthday. And also, screw you, Leap Year. I made a video about you, and I regret it, because a lot of things happened on Friday, and my birthday was gonna be on a Friday, I mean that things were gonna happen on Friday, but with freaking these starters, man, but freaking Leap Year ruined it all, making my birthday on Saturday. You son of a bitch, Leap Year.
was the opening song.
It's a brand new day.
I don't know why, I'm just envisioning a tombstone outside and says Steve on it. Now, I thought that was gonna be a clip where something would be in the background and be like, did you catch it? But that wasn't it.
Song is about starting the day, and Josh keeps saying, "Good morning."
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Blue.
And literally, the
Good
first thing we
morning.
hear Kevin Jeffries say is, "Good morning."
So is Donovan.
Good morning, how are you?
Despite it clearly being night, we
Wait a second. I was laughing because he said good morning and it was clearly nighttime, but if they kept saying that in this... Oh no.
also hear this line in Josh's
That's my
song.
longest video, yeah,
This
sure.
life is just like a beautiful dream.
This life is just like a beautiful dream. Interesting.
Huh.
And while Josh
That's
sings,
a
the
little
other
weird.
characters keep telling him to wake up.
Wake up! Wake up!
It's a brand new day.
Right away, this movie feels
Huh.
different. Like it's trying to draw attention to the fact that this world is just Kevin's fantasy, and it's time for him to leave it. Josh leaves his fantasy world to go to the audition in New York, just
I
like how
don't
Kevin
like this.
escapes the clinic at the start of the episode.
I hate
And
this.
just like Kevin, Josh immediately seems very disoriented by the outside world.
I hate
Until, of
this.
course, his fantasy starts to take over
Alright,
to
so I hate this, I
protect
hate
him
this, I hate
from
this,
reality.
I hate this! No, I can't do this anymore, man. I can't do this anymore. He used his fantasy to escape everything. The main thing he's been setting up! Come on, Alex, why are you so good at this?
But what's interesting about this movie is that
What?
for the very first time ever,
Yes?
we get these little glimpses of Blue's Clues from other people's perspectives.
I don't like
Don't
this.
you think, Tomato Mustard? Oh?
Long way to meet you.
Whoa! Mr. Salt! Mrs. Pepper! Am I glad to see you? Whoa! Oh my God!
Like I said, this
He
movie
got
feels different. We learned that Josh's audition
Yeah,
is
it's
at
definitely
3
different.
o'clock, and
Definitely
the whole
different.
movie is just him trying to find the audition before time runs out.
It's almost
So is seeing the world from different people's perspectives supposed to show that Steve's world or Kevin's world is coming to an end? Maybe.
time for my audition.
Let's
oh
go.
My gosh, we don't have much time, Blue.
We don't have
This
much
is
time,
why
Lou.
Kevin kept asking people what time it was.
What time is it?
You used this for something else. I didn't think you were gonna use it again. Dude, stop!
What time?
I got
What
sorry
time?
for screaming,
Josh
but
also doesn't know where his audition
Come
is.
on, man.
All he knows is that it's in a theater.
he's gonna ask where. No! He went to the theater. That's what they said. He went to the theater to jump into the squad. No, he went to the theater. That's when he tried to jump into the screen. damn, I sounded so different right there.
somewhere.
Excuse me, do you know the address to the theater? Which theater? I don't know which theater.
Maybe this is why Kevin went to a movie theater
I don't
after
like
he
this.
escaped, because he thought it was his Broadway audition.
I don't
Now,
like
in the Law and
this.
Order episode, shortly after leaving the
So now you're saying that Blue's Clues set up this whole thing, and not the serious freaking drama show. No, the innocent little kid show that's about death.
theater, Kevin gets arrested and then
Now it's
tragically
about death.
dies in police
Dude. Don't tell me Josh gets arrested, bro. If Josh gets arrested, then he goes into like a coma, I'm gonna lose it.
custody. But that's not what happens in
Okay,
the
good.
movie. Josh goes to the
Forgot.
theater and gets the part,
We want you to be the star of our Broadway show.
Yeah, that's a little weird.
Yes.
but instead of him leaving and dying like Kevin, we immediately cut to him performing the musical in a big
a little
climactic
weird.
finale.
My dream is a reality.
Huh.
If this movie really is Kevin's final escape, then what if
This
this
is like the most disturbing song that he uses in his videos.
is what Kevin experiences as he dies?
Damn. Yep, it's definitely changing, buddy.
A massive final magical song where he's surrounded by all of the friends from his fantasy, the only people who ever really understood him. Even the old hosts show up for this final send-off for Kevin.
And thank you for making this a day and an adventure that I will never forget.
I'll never forget how you helped me find all those clues. Thanks again for all your help.
No, really. Now it's over. So long.
I hate this.
And that is sadly where Kevin Jeffries' story ends. Now, I know this final movie theory maybe doesn't have as much evidence as the rest of my theory, but regardless, I like thinking that maybe Kevin found some peace in his final moments.
I was gonna say I don't like thinking that, but it's probably true. But I like thinking that he did find happiness in his final moments because it makes sense. For someone like him, it makes sense. Trust me, I have autism. What do I? So I know that. I know what my final moments would be about. They'd be grateful for the people who have helped me, like you guys. So I firmly believe in everything Alex is telling me, and I feel like he's really changed my perspective of everything, and this is yet another example of it.
And yeah, I know that this movie came out 27 years after the Law and Order episode, so it's
27
probably a
years,
stretch
dude.
to say that they're still
27
connected. Wait, is that
years.
fucking B.D. Wong?
I'm the director of Rainbow
Don't tell me he was in the episode. He was in the episode, dude!
Puppy's Broadway musical.
B.D. Wong from Law and Order SVU.
What?
You was the fucking director of Josh's musical?
I'm not entirely comfortable labeling the suspect a serial killer.
We want you to be the star of our Broadway show.
Holy shit!
We just figured out Blue's Clues. We just figured out Blue's Clues.
He just figured out Blue's Clues.
Because this is my job. This is actually my job. Alright, that is my theory. Thank you
That is a childhood destruction bomb!
so much for watching. Hope I didn't ruin Blue's Clues for you. Hey, thanks for...
This guy, this son of a bitch. What do you... Okay, I'm sorry. I love you and your content, but... You are the biggest troll on the planet!
For 1 million subscribers, that's really cool. YouTube sent me this big golden rectangle.
Nice, man.
So I got that now.
I hope I get
Also,
that someday.
Steve Burns is kind of active on the internet these days. So if by some chance you happen to see this Mr. Steve Blue's Clues I'm sure we would all love to hear your thoughts on this theory,
Uh,
even if
yeah,
that's just him
I'd
calling me
love
crazy.
that.
I'm fine,
See
I'll take it.
the final
I got more
input that we
fan
could
theories
ever
on the way.
need
I'm doing a High School
to
Musical
see.
one. Maybe a Breaking Bad one. Seemed like people were interested in that.
No,
and
he's
I've got
gonna
a bunch
do
of
that.
other
I know.
ideas I'm working on too. So
Okay, this was in his big SpongeBob compilation video. We need to figure out what these other ones are. This is Cars. You can't fool me. That's my boy Lionel McQueen. Ka-chow! If I've seen him. Any of these others? I don't know. I feel like he said this one was gonna. This is one of his 2 favorites. He said. I think alongside the High School Musical one, he said were like his 2 favorites. But what's that yellow one? That looks like a text box above them. That probably something very cryptic in it. Is that a W? Wait. Is that the McDonald's logo upside down? Is he gonna do a McDonald's theory?
subscribe to catch those. Make sure you hit the bell icon, because sometimes YouTube just randomly decides not to tell people when I upload. Hello, is
I don't know if there's enough time for something else.
anyone watching this video? Did YouTube tell anyone I uploaded? I hope so. Speaking of which,
I'm
I
watching.
recently posted a
Yeah, I saw this whole
compilation
thing
of
and
all of
I
the Don't
loved
Feed
it.
the
This is
Muse
probably my
web series
favorite,
episodes
like,
into one long film, and it's got a bunch of brand new.
Yeah, I love that opening. It's like the spot. Go down there, man. Go down. But like, it's. I just feel like this is just this is just shows what Alex wanted to do and not these silly theories. But at the same time, you can tell that he loves making them. Like, this is probably my favorite ALG like web series I've seen. Really, it's just so flawlessly executed. It's flawlessly filmed. It's practically perfect. Go check it out if you haven't seen anything like it before, which you probably haven't. But yeah, that is the Alex Bell, Blue's Clues, and Law and Order theory. Like I said, wasn't what I was expecting, but I don't think I'm that disappointed by it anymore because of the part with, like, the freaking movie. This video might be over an hour long when the theory itself isn't even a half hour long, which is crazy. But it just goes to show how much I have to say about Alex's content because of it's just how much these videos have to offer. They have so many details. They're so interesting, so traumatizing. But you can't help but love Alex's content. But before we go, we gotta see if there's anything else at the end.
Content in it, so check that out if you're interested. Thank you to all
I'd
the
bet
patrons
that
who support
there
this
isn't,
channel. If you
but
sign up to my Patreon,
maybe there's like a
you get
teaser for
access
his
to
next
videos
theory,
early,
like the High School
behind-the-scenes
Musical.
content, and your name at the end of the
He just announced one of his next theories on there. That's interesting. It has to be the Cars one, right?
video. Look at all these names.
People already
Look at
figured
you.
out that there's
Look
gonna
at
be a
you.
Cars one.
Now it's time for so
so
long. Thanks for doing your part. I will see you next time.
Nice, bro, nice. This theory was crazy. This was years in the making, like I said earlier in this video. Years in the making, literally. I love that outro, which is like a reference to the Blue's Clues outro. This is definitely more about Blue's Clues than Big Fat Meanie. What a name. But it was definitely more about Blue's Clues and Law and Order, but I still feel like it wasn't about Blue's Clues enough. I don't know, it's just that I'm still really, really happy with the result of this theory, but if there was a way that this could somehow be a little more focused on Blue's Clues, I would have liked it even more. But as a theory, this is one of his best, in my opinion. I think that this theory, pretty much flawless. There was... Other than that, that's just about what I wanted to see from a Blue's Clues theory, but the theory itself is phenomenal. There's pretty much no issues I have with it now. I listed off some issues I had with the theory about how some things don't make sense, but everything makes sense now. He explained everything flawlessly. I mean, I said this earlier in the video, released early in the video actually, but like the production of it, the amount of quality this video had is insane, man. It was insane. I didn't even think about this going to this video, but I'm surprised that there wasn't like a sponsorship. I love Alex Bell's sponsored like ads. They are the greatest ones on YouTube, and I'd never skip them. Like sometimes they are the best things about his theories, not even the theories themselves. I loved like the infomercial with like the classic 80s, like 90s style that he did in the Pixar one about freaking Factor. Well, he puts way more effort into that than he needs to. You know, I would love one where he's just like depressed as hell, like, Raid Shadow Legends is a I'd love that. That would be so good. If he did one where he's like depressed, he's like, oh, use the code. Thanks for watching my sponsored ad with Shredder Theory. And then he's like, so this insane like Neptune theory has got so much hidden lore, and he's like so hyped doing the theory. It'd be crazy. Or maybe it's one of those ads where he talks like a robot. He's like, Raid Shadow Legends is an insane. Shout out Alex. He never would do anything like that, but it would be funny if he does that in his next ad. Because if he gets sponsored by something he does not care about, I mean, at that point, I feel like he won't accept the sponsor. But yeah, I'm pretty much just stalling until we get the hour mark. Because me from a long time ago, probably never would have thought I'd get that an hour mark on a video. But thanks to Alex Bell, his beautiful name's on the screen. That's why it's not stupid anymore. I'm able to hit that mark, which I just did. And because of that, I'm ending this video here. I forgot what the Blue's Clues outro was. But let's just pretend like it was, Stay tuned for more Blue's Clues. This next episode is going to take place in a funeral because our host is dead. Yay. Oh, God.